Hello guys, welcome back to Defying Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star Part 358 based on novel. So let's start. Luo Feng was dazed the second he walked out of his miniature universe. There were powerful forces permeating everywhere, and there were quite a few great beings gathering right outside the miniature universe. Some of the ripples were strong while some were weak. There must have been some true gods as well as some universe masters waiting outside. Those ripples alone could deter the great beings from the first and the second universe era so that they didn't dare to come and bother Luo Feng. Luo Feng was even able to see through the space in the distance and see Long Yang, true god, who was standing far away. Why are there so many great beings from all the races in the original universe gathering outside my miniature universe? Luo Feng was confused, and then he permeated his own energy ripples. All of a sudden, the most powerful ripple in the area appeared in the vast space. Contained in the ripples was a force everyone was familiar with, the force of Luo Feng. Milky Way Horde Leader. It's the ripple of Milky Way Horde Leader. All of a sudden, one great being after another teleported and rushed to Luo Feng's side. One being after another appeared. They all looked at the origin of the ripple. It was a human male in a white cape. Milky Way Horde Leader. Congratulations, Milky Way Horde Leader, on becoming a true god. Congratulations. Milky Way. All the voices were echoing in Luo Feng's ears. Some belonged to beings of other races who had come to congratulate him, and some belonged to excited humans. Luo Feng reigned in his ripples. After doing that, he felt like an ordinary human being. Luo Feng was slightly dazed. Reigning in forces? While trying to pull back his ripples, Luo Feng discovered that he was able to keep reigning in his forces. He was even able to pull back his ripples completely, so that no great beings would be able to find him. Generally, it was impossible to pull back life forces, as they were used to identify great beings. However, he found that he was able to do just that. It seems that there's more potential in my body, Luo Feng thought. That's right. There are 3 levels on the godly power path. At 30,000 times, godly bodies can be 10 times taller, and at 60,000 times, godly bodies can be 1,000 times taller. If someone reaches 90,000 times, he'll be able to change his godly body to any size he wants. As for me, my godly body is at 100,000 times, so it must have some unknown power. I'll need to study it carefully later. He'd already concluded that since billions of races all congratulated him when he became a true god at a life gene level of 100,000 times, his godly body was more complicated than he thought. However, he had kept his focus on the birth of his miniature universe, the structure of his universe, and the evolution of chaos, so he didn't have the capacity of study his own body. More and more great beings gathered in the space outside his miniature universe, and there were already more than 10 true gods and hundreds of universe masters. Most were from the original universe. Some universe masters had also been sent by the Divine Eye clan to help. Teacher. A red-haired teenager flew toward Luo Feng. It was Fire Dome, true god, the most powerful disciple of Luo Feng. Fire Dome. Luo Feng nodded. 2 other beings also flew toward him. They were Long Yang, true god, and Void Gold, true god. Long Yang and Void God. Luo Feng was smiling. What happened? Why are there so many great beings from all the races gathering outside my miniature universe? I thought you were ganging up against the sector beasts. Long Yang, true god, looked relaxed. Haha. We're here precisely because of sector beasts. Sector beasts? Luo Feng looked worried. They showed up again. Not long ago, said Void Gold, true god, sector beasts showed up again. Those from the first and the second universe era were all very anxious. We feared that they would bother you by attacking your miniature universes, so we surrounded your miniature universe so that no other races could disturb you. Luo Feng listened while nodding. He had concentrated on the structure of his miniature universe and comprehending the evolution of chaos, so nobody was able to find him. If someone had attacked his miniature universe, they would have negatively affected him to a certain extent. How many sector beasts are there? Asked Luo Feng. This was the issue he actually cared about. It's okay. There's only one, said Void Gold True God. Long Yang added, let's go back first, Milky Way. Okay. Luo Feng nodded. He looked around and saw a large group of great beings from all the races gathering in the distance, so he said, thank you for guarding my miniature universe. I already know about the sector beasts, and I'll do everything in my power to help. It's our duty, said the various great beings from all the races. We can't get rid of the sector beasts, but guarding you is only a small matter. We wouldn't let those from other universe eras distract you from comprehending the evolution of chaos. If someone dares to disturb Milky Way Horde Leader, he'll make himself an enemy of us all. Luo Feng expressed his gratitude, then went back to the original universe with Long Yang, Void Gold, and Fire Dome. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Luo Feng easily connected to the virtual universe after he went back to the original universe. The human race had prepared a grand celebration to congratulate him on becoming a true god. However, there were sector beasts outside endangering all the races, so they kept it simple. Inside the True God Palace, many beautiful servants were walking around with plates on their hands, and all the true gods sat in the thrones. Down there many universe masters had gathered. There were more than 2,000 universe masters, which showed how powerful the original universe was. There were even great beings from the bug race and the demon race who had come to congratulate Luo Feng. There weren't eternal grudges among the races. In the past, the power among the races had been roughly even, so the power struggle had been intense. However, the humans were now so mighty that other races like the demon race no longer had the ambition to seize the throne. There's no need to worry about the sector beasts. Luo Feng asked Primal Chaos City Leader, who was sitting beside him. No need, said Primal Chaos City Leader. The sector beast showed up 9 times in total, and then it disappeared. It's been half a month since it last appeared, and I assume the sector beast swallowed lots of origins and started to transform the power. Luo Feng nodded. It sounded right. Last time, the sector beast had done the same thing, as it had needed a long time to convert the energy after swallowing the origins. I think it might take it a long time to convert the power. At least 1 year, said Primal Chaos City Leader. There's no need to rush things. However, these are sector beasts, after all, so the celebration is simple. Someone becoming a true god was a huge even for a race. If not for the sector beasts, the celebration would normally have lasted for a year. The one for Luo Feng only lasted a day. Besides, this sector beast swallowed the origin slower than last time, said Primal Chaos City Leader. It's only half as fast as last time. Oh. Luo Feng nodded. The speed at which a sector beast swallowed an origin could indicate the power of a sector beast. That meant the sector beast this time was weaker. However, there's a chance that the sector beast is just pretending to be weak, said Primal Chaos City Leader. And there's a chance he's setting a trap for you. You need to be careful. I understand. Luo Feng nodded. Asterisk 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 asterisk. After the celebration, Luo Feng left the original universe and entered the vast universe ocean, beginning to patrol. It's been a long time since the sector beast showed up last time, and it should be absorbing and converting the origins it swallowed before. A spaceship showed up in the chaos space, floating in place. Luo Feng was in it. It might last a long time. I need to exploit the potential of my body carefully before the sector beast comes again. Luo Feng started to study the potential carefully again. Now, he finally had some time to tap all his potentialities after becoming a true god. Of course, Luo Feng divided his consciousness into 2 parts. Only part of his consciousness was exploiting the potential of his body. As for the other part, it focused on the godly power body beside the black-striped stone pillar. In that space where time traveled 10 million times faster, he was trying to fully absorb the comprehension of the evolution of chaos. He tried to improve. He was preparing for the upcoming war. Luo Feng wasn't worried about the war at all. Based on the fight against Morosa, especially given the information Morosa had leaked and part of the information leaked by the original mind, Luo Feng could extrapolate. Firstly, the original mind had said that sector beasts had to be eliminated before this universe era ended. Apparently, The king of sector beasts would not be born until the first universe era almost ended. Presently, there was still a long time to go. And besides, Morosa had nearly been crushed by Luo Feng, and it had said that after entering the third level, only Bedi could have severely injured him. That meant, the third level in the sector beast hive was the top power. I can easily kill sector beasts at the third level, Luo Feng thought. *********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************races in Universe Ocean anxious. In the silent chaos space, a dark being curled up in space. Its power was gradually being strengthened. Finally, it stretched its body and opened its eyes. Finally, I've converted and absorbed the energies. Both eyes of Morosa were glinting fiercely. I've reached pinnacle level 2. It's been such a long time. That Milky Way horde leader should have shown up. Morosa knew that even if it recovered to pinnacle level 3 or even to Bedis level, it wouldn't be Luo Feng's match. Turning into a true god indicated a great breakthrough in power. The exception would be if a large number of sector beasts made attacks at the same time, using quantity to make up for lack of quality. If they cooperated and attacked at the same time, even true gods of void space would die. However, the sector beasts were trying to kill each other, so it was impossible for them to cooperate. They were trying to swallow each other until the king was born. That was their destiny. I'm coming. Morosa teleported and disappeared. ********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** real god. Nobody knew where Luo Feng was guarding, as nobody knew who the spy was, not even the human true gods. Luo Feng had gone to different places. My body has such power, Luo Feng said. He was amazed. The power of his body, after reaching 100,000 times, was incredible. Before, the life gene level had been mainly about godly power storage, but after reaching 100,000 times, it had reached a different level. For godly power storage, after gaining an endless godly body, it reached its peak. Yet after Luo Feng reached 100,000 times, he had a variety of power called invisible and formless. Change. Luo Feng's blood, flesh, skin, and the structures deeper that were constituting his life started to change, and soon later, his skin became dark, and there was black mist surrounding his body. At the same time, another head appeared on his head, and each head had a single bloody eye. It was permeating wicked forces, and it was definitely a sector beast. The forces coming from it were definitely the forces of sector beast. Luo Feng had already reached the legendary level of 100,000 times, which was sheer perfection. Also, it had the characteristics of sector beasts and universe masters, true gods, and true gods of void space. Two different lineages were combined in the same body. The negative side and the positive side usually neutralized each other. However, Luo Feng had reached the peak and was able to merge the two sides, reaching perfection. He was able to permeate godly power. However, if he deliberately altered the force, he was able to easily transform all the energies in his body to an opposite energy, the power of sector beasts. Certainly, that was the only thing he could do. As for the colorful portal, the separation of bodies, and the skill to breed endless warriors, Luo Feng didn't have any of those. He was only able to transform the energies. He couldn't change his soul. Asterisk 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 asterisk. There were 1 billion sector beasts in total, and while they had high life gene levels, they weren't at the perfect level of 100,000 times. Only the king was perfect. Although sector beasts could simulate the force on the surface, they weren't able to convert their energies into godly power completely. If they were really able to convert the energies, there would have been no need for them to be afraid of 9 remoteness true master. Even though they had slightly lower life gene levels than Luo Feng, they were born for destruction. From level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, they kept evolving and getting stronger. The final king of sector beasts would be at the same level as the original universe, which was a level Luo Feng could never attain. After all, Luo Feng was only a creature born inside the original universe. No matter how great he was, he couldn't compare to sector beasts. Sector beasts were bred by Universe Ocean, standing in opposition to the original universe. Converting his energy into the force of sector beasts was only one of the skills. Invisible and formless also meant Luo Feng was able to perfectly hide his life force. His diagram of life structure was perfect, which was why he could perfectly hide it. Plus, he was also able to alter his force and imitate other forces. Change. Luo Feng immediately changed. He turned into sector beast Morosa, emanating the same force as Morosa. Change. Luo Feng became primal chaos city leader, having the same life force. Change. Luo Feng became 9 remoteness true master. Change. Luo Feng became blood orchid ancestor. Change. Luo Feng became a spaceship, boat of mausoleum, even emanating the same force of the valuable. Change. Luo Feng became a floating rock in the space, with the same force. He had the perfect diagram of structure, and he was able to turn into flesh and blood, metal, and plant life forms with the same force. It meant that Luo Feng could turn into any great being or any object. Of course, when it came to those that were too special, like His Majesty the Godly King from Jin country, the willpower contained within couldn't be duplicated by Luo Feng. He was able to turn into anyone and anything within his limit. Incredible. Much more incredible than the limitless godly body and flexible sizes of bodies. Luo Feng was thrilled. At the 3rd level of godly body, one had a limitless godly body and a flexible size. However, compared to invisible and formless, after reaching perfection, it was still inferior. Of course, this ability was not invincible. If I am locked in place, then it will be useless, Luo Feng thought. If he were trapped in a single thought void space, no matter how he changed, his enemies would be able to see him changing, so he wouldn't be able to get away. No matter how powerful an ability was, there were weaknesses. Even sector beasts had weaknesses, not to mention Luo Feng. Asterisk 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 asterisk. While Luo Feng rejoiced to discover the ability he had after his life gene level reached 100,000 times, Sector Beast Morosa met 9-headed Demon Master again. "These were what happened when you disappeared, my king," said 9-headed Demon Master respectfully. "Did you leave out anything?" Morosa gazed at 9-headed Demon Master with his 2 singular eyes. No 9-headed Demon Master shook his head. Morosa waved his claws. "Go." 9-headed Demon Master bowed, teleported, and disappeared. Morosa stood in the space of chaos air, and the air was surrounding him. He stood still, sometimes looking furious, sometimes looking reluctant, sometimes looking mad. Milky Way Horde Leader. Both of the singular eyes of Morosa glinted with insanity. "I can't kill you, and I have no chance to become the king anymore. But I'll make you regret what you did." Luo Feng at true god level made Morosa desperate. He felt like an ant facing a mountain. If it could become the king of sector beasts, it could definitely kill Luo Feng. However, even in the nest of sector beasts, it was a weakling who would be crushed by the others. Back in the nest, it would be killed. It was better for him to behave insanely and perhaps successfully get his revenge. "No matter what, I'll give all your information to Betty and the others." Ha ha ha. Morosa immediately started to send the message. All the sector beasts were able to use telepathy, and they could send their messages to each other naturally. "Betty, and other idiots. I am the great Morosa. Aren't you all trying to kill me? Unfortunately, none of you are qualified to kill me. I, Morosa, will die very soon. The one who is going to kill me is the most powerful great being in Universe Ocean. The human, Milky Way Horde Leader Luo Feng. Remember this name, Milky Way Horde Leader Luo Feng. He's powerful beyond all your imagination. When he was only a universe master, he was able to overpower all the other true gods and was already the #1 great being in Universe Ocean. When he was fighting me, he was at such a great advantage that I couldn't resist him at all, and I could only flee. I went back to level 1 from level 3 because of him. Betty, even you're not his match. And now, he has already become a true god. He's only going to get more powerful, and I can't even imagine how powerful he is now. If it's a 1-to-1 battle, even if you are at pinnacle level 4 now, you'll be killed by him, Betty. All you idiots must fight him together or consume each other to give birth to level 5 sector beasts or higher. Fight and kill each other, and let the final king be born. Remember, beware of Milky Way horde leader. Don't let him destroy the sector beast. Betty. Haha. You failed to kill me after all. The message was spread. The eyes of Morosa gleamed all the more madly, as it wasn't afraid of death anymore. Now that its message had been sent, the sector beasts would start to prepare for everything now. Haha. Milky Way horde leader, this is only the first gift for you. I have a second gift. Morosa instantly teleported and disappeared. Asterisk 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 asterisk. In the core area of one of the three lands of Extremis, in Tilted Peak Sector, in the Land of Darkness, was the hive of sector beasts. Every sector beast received the message sent by Morosa, and it shocked all the sector beasts in the hive. They hadn't realized that the life forms in Universe Ocean, which they treated as food, could give birth to such a terrific creature. The one who knocked Morosa back to level 1 was only a Universe Master. Milky Way horde leader. Now that he's a true god. Is he really more powerful than Betty? All the sector beasts everywhere in the hive immediately remembered Milky Way horde leader Luo Feng. Sai. La. The ferocious sector beast known as Betty, who was swallowing flesh and blood endlessly, suddenly raised both of its heads. Black blood dripped from the edges of its lips. The dying sector beast was yelling, "Did you hear that, Betty? Even you'll be killed by that Milky Way horde leader if you meet him. You'll die. You'll die as well. Cha. Betty opened its mouth abruptly and swallowed half of the head of the dying sector beast. Its eyes were cold. Milky Way horde leader Luo Feng? Betty whispered the name. Asterisk 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 asterisk. One miniature universe after another was located outside the original universe, and they floated around the original universe. They belonged to the true gods from the original universe, so they were all very close to it. These miniature universes were all very safe. They were all connected to the original universe through universe portals, so even if they were swallowed by the sector beasts, the true gods from the original universe could arrive as soon as possible to fight them by following the universe portals. Morosa had never attacked the miniature universes of the true gods that belonged to the original universe era. Hua! The chaos air trembled. A black, ugly being showed up in space. Morosa was staring at the miniature universe in the distance. He muttered, "This? Is this the miniature universe of the greatest and the first leader of the human race, Teacher Origin? It seems to be called the Primal Universe. Teacher Origin is completely suppressed, and he isn't even able to control his own miniature universe. He can't even drive it to morph, which is why it remains at the primal status. And without Teacher Origin to control it, that means his small universe doesn't have his willpower to guard it. Morosa was looking forward to it. Which means it'll be the most efficient to swallow his miniature universe. Swallowing the origin of a miniature universe depended, for one thing, on the level of the miniature universe. The more advanced a miniature universe was, the more resistant it was. For another thing, the willpower of the true god also mattered. When Morosa had swallowed Purple Moon Holy Land, he had been able to eat it quickly. However, when Purple Moon Ancestor had utilized his willpower to guard it, the Holy Land had become much more resistant. I should be able to eat the miniature universe of Teacher Origin much faster than others, Morosa thought. Let it begin. If I can swallow the universe of the earliest leader of the human race, will Luo Feng and the humans lose their minds? Morosa expected as much. Like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching.